Hello, and welcome to another episode of True Confessions. It's the show where I reveal some of the embarrassing, entertaining, and enlightening experiences that I had during my own personal reinvention after divorce. I confess, and I also give you some tips relating to the lessons that I learned. So hopefully you don't make the same mistakes I did. And if you do, then we are in good company with each other. I'm Reinvention Guide Melissa Kramer, and you may be able to guess by my appearance today that there's a little bit of a theme going on. Today we're going to talk about surviving the holidays. So once November rolls around, many people tend to join one of two camps. The camp that is not really into holiday celebration at all. In fact, this camp tends to kind of recede and disappear from the whole scene until around January 3rd or so, when they reemerge, when all of the holiday revelry has really died down. And then there's the other camp, the camp that tends to start throwing glitter on everything right around November 1st, and they don't stop until around Valentine's Day sometimes. So whether you're in the camp that retreats or the camp that glitter bombs, or you fall somewhere in between, today I'm going to share some of the true confessions during my year after my divorce, and how going through my reinvention, I acknowledge some of these things and have made some adjustments in my life to be more in line with where I want to be, not in the place where I was. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. I just want to address and acknowledge, here we are sitting in 2020 in the middle of this global pandemic that, on top of everything that you are experiencing in your life after divorce, there's this whole layer that amplifies so many of, frankly, the negative emotions that you might be experiencing. Because the pandemic that has us quarantining and has us living in fear of our own health, of the health of our loved ones, of our career stability. So many factors are involved in all of this with the pandemic, that it's making our holiday experience and our emotional response to that something even more complicated than possibly in the past. And the bevy of emotions that you may be feeling right now, I want to share with you that they are all okay. Where we find ourselves in trouble is when we let those emotions dictate the actions that we take, and those actions send us down the wrong path. So that's where today I'm going to share my experiences with you and hopefully give you some inspiration to check in with yourself so that you can acknowledge your feelings. Totally let those feelings happen, but don't let them control you. And there's a big difference between those two things. I was talking to a real rad woman just the other day who was telling me about her approach to the holidays and how this year the pandemic is actually inspiring her to step back into more of a festive mode. Because when she got divorced, she kind of lost that holiday spirit feeling that she used to have. She didn't really want to engage in some of the traditions and things that she did and established in her married life. And then shortly after her divorce, she received a breast cancer diagnosis. So she was completely derailed by that, and just all semblance of holiday celebration, the things that she loved to do, the holiday baking and the decorating, she just stopped doing. And she stopped for 10 years. So I'm so happy to share that this woman is now cancer-free, and she has stepped into an amazing, rad new life for herself that she's created. And she's also acknowledging that she has a desire to have a little bit more of a festive experience, a festive environment going on around her. And she's now ready to do some things and create some things for herself that will bring her that, because that's just something she'd like to do. And that's a real growth step for her because she shut it off for so long. So know that even if sometimes we find ourselves pausing things because of changes in our lives, you can always find your way back to something that's truly in your true authenticity. If it's not something that's authentically aligned with you in the first place, maybe just something you were going through the motions to do, then it's not really a loss in your experience. It's actually something that's helping you move more into where you belong, where you want to be. So I thought that was a great lesson, and I really appreciated her for sharing that with me, and I wanted to share it with you too, because I think it's really important to recognize that you can always create something new for yourself if that is within your desire and in alignment with what you want. So now, without further ado, let's get into the top 5 sort of embarrassing, really, I think, entertaining and hopefully enlightening things that I did in my year after my divorce to help myself cope with the holidays and what I learned about those behaviors. Number 1, idealistic holiday perfection, also known as the Norman Rockwell American Dream. So in the years leading up to my divorce, and then most definitely coming to a peak the year of my divorce, I became increasingly committed, might even say addicted, to the idea of creating holiday perfection. Anyone around me would see that that's what was going on in my life. From the amazingly hosted holiday parties, whether it was a family feast for over 24 people where I would roast the turkey and make all of the amazing elaborate side dishes, to the decorations, where finally at my height, I had 11. I don't even have enough fingers to show you. 11 Christmas trees in various parts of my home. From one in every single bedroom to trees in the dining room, the entryway, the front living room, the family room, the kitchen. Everywhere you could look, there was some kind of tree strung with lights and decorated and just projecting this idea of holiday perfection. The beautiful light displays that I would create outside my house. Everything I did myself, and I wanted it all to look and feel perfect. Why? Because I could not have felt less perfect. And my way to overcompensate in that experience was to show everyone how perfect I wanted it to be. Only after I truly went through my reinvention did I realize what the perfection I was seeking really was. And that was a true sense of contentment and the understanding that I am enough, and that just being me and showing up in my integrity and my authenticity and spreading joy that way was the best representation of holiday perfection. Moving on to number 2. This one goes hand in hand with the idea of creating that image of holiday perfection. And that is my tendency of going over the top. So obviously that image creation was an expression of over the top behavior with the elaborate holiday celebrations and 11 freaking Christmas trees, just to give you 2 examples. But after my divorce, when I was coping with the holidays, one of the things that I found myself doing was being excessively generous, being downright over the top in my gift giving. From the gifts that I bought from Secret Santa gift exchanges at work, to the gifts that I gave my clients, where I would actually, for some of my best clients, spend a few weeks putting together these carefully curated gift boxes that I would send or hand deliver to them. For my children, they got some amazing Christmas experiences that first year, which I will get to in one of my other examples. I also really was not shy about treating myself or the people around me, friends, family, to charity. I think it's wonderful to be charitable in any way you can, whether monetarily, voluntarily. But the year of my divorce, I really went over the top. I adopted 3 separate families through an adoptive family organization locally. It was a wonderful, beautiful thing, but again, it was kind of excessive. I was just really working to try and fill a void that I was feeling by being very generous, which it looks like a beautiful thing, but there's really something that needed to be addressed within myself to look at why I was doing the things I was doing. And now for number 3. Well, these all seem to be connected like a string of lights because the idea of Christmas perfection and projecting that image and going over the top rolled right in to amazing holiday revelry. And the year after my divorce, I absolutely, without question, overdid my revelry in many ways. Unadulterated celebration. And that was easily enabled by the fact that I worked in sales and I had a lot of clients to entertain. So guess what I did? I threw huge Christmas parties or holiday parties for my clients, all because of my desire to exuberantly, excessively, over the top celebrate. And it didn't just stop with the events that I hosted. The events that I attended, I was the life of the party in that year after my divorce. Ask anyone who attended my corporate holiday party, and they will tell you, Melissa was so much fun at that event. Although I didn't commit any really horrible crimes of professionalism at that event, I was definitely over celebratory, over compensating, over the top, because I wanted everyone to think that my life was perfect. The number 4 embarrassing thing that I did to cope with the holidays the year after my divorce is something that I really have mixed feelings about, because it's something that was really a fun, memorable experience. It's something that garnered a ton of attention. And it's also something that I recognize my motivations were not as pure as I would like to have portrayed them to be. And this all is describing the FU Christmas card that I sent out the year of my divorce. So I have a friend who's a wonderful photographer, and she came to my home to take a picture of my boys and myself to do a little photo shoot for us. I concocted an amazingly elaborate idea for these family photos of just the 3 of us, inspired by the late 1960s photo shoot of the Beatles having a pillow fight in their hotel room. So yeah, we staged this entire photo shoot in my bedroom in coordinated pajamas, jumping on my bed, having a huge pillow fight. Feathers everywhere. We had an amazing, awesome, wonderful time. It was really cute. It was an insane mess. My kids will never forget that pillow fight photo shoot. I created an amazing Christmas card, and that Christmas card was my declaration of independence that I sent out to over 300 people. My motivations were a little bit on the dark side. I most definitely was trying to send a big FU to my husband and a big, yeah, look at me, everyone, to everyone who received that card, to see how much fun my life was now, how awesome my life was now. And, that's really something that, did I need to be shouting it from the rooftops? Well, at that time, that's how I dealt with it. That was my coping mechanism. Would I do the same thing today? Probably not, especially because it was such a mess to clean up. But seriously, I probably would have gone about it in a different way. But it was something that I did, and I'm happy to share it with you because you may have a few of those little FU things that you're doing too that maybe are just slightly out of alignment with what you really would rather be doing for yourself. So there's something to think about. And number 5, and that was the I can do it all massive expression of my holiday coping. I wanted Christmas to be more perfect and better than ever for myself and for my kids that first year after my divorce. So, what's a girl who loves to go over the top, who loves to have fun, who enjoys a little whimsy and celebration in her life to do? Travel to Disney World, where we would spend some time at the park and then hop on a Disney cruise. That's pretty extreme. It's a pretty big deal. It was a lot of fun, but it was also very much, I can do it. That expression where I was really wanting to show everyone I had no problem being alone, taking my children solo on the busiest travel time of the year to the busiest place you could find in the United States, and then get on a big cruise ship that's always busy, that I could manage and navigate that whole experience all on my own because I didn't need a husband. I didn't need anyone. I could do it. We have great memories from that trip. It's kind of like the Christmas card. There were some really positive, awesome things that happened during those times. I was coping with the holidays by just amplifying joy and fun. And there's nothing wrong with joy and fun. I just really, really went overboard with it. So recognizing how that extreme behavior was really motivated by a neediness that I was feeling of being accepted in my single life, of being accepted and appreciated as someone who was capable of doing everything on their own, really was a huge underlying factor for me. I can do it. I am strong. So here is my advice to you. If you're finding yourself going really extreme, maybe like me, you are just going over the top in your expression and the actions that you're taking to celebrate the holidays because you want everything to be perfect. Look at that and see how much that really is true to you and how much of that is you trying to fill a void that you haven't really identified yet, that you haven't worked through. That will set you free, and that will allow you, when you remove those pressures that you're putting on yourself, to just appreciate things around you and be much more in alignment with yourself in the way that you do things. And hey, if you're on the total other end of the spectrum and you are not a fan of any of this, in fact, it makes you feel bad or even makes you angry, all of this holiday talk. Frankly, if you're on that side of the spectrum, I don't even know if you would continue watching this video after you see me wearing this because you want nothing to do with holiday stuff. Observe that too, because it's all around us right now. And while it can be annoying and it may really put things out of alignment for what the season really is supposed to be about, look at how you're allowing those feelings to control you and dictate how you feel and how you're showing up for yourself. Because that, my friends, is what this is all about. How you are feeling and how you are showing up for yourself. Your actions are the expression of that. So if you're being driven and being guided by some of these slightly off base emotions, then your actions will certainly show that. So just take a look at what you're doing. Hopefully you've learned from some of my experiences that, yeah, you do some dumb things when you're feeling misguided. And know that there is guidance here for you. The way to get yourself centered, the way to get yourself even, and to be able to just be present and to enjoy your experience without having to overcompensate or without having to run and hide. That's where you want to be. And that guidance is here for you. I'm here for you. You can go check me out at radnewlife.com. and I will be creating another video for you very soon. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Real Rad Women. Are you in the process of your own reinvention? Visit radnewlife.com to find out more about the resources and support you can receive to help amplify your progress. Find out where you are in your process and exactly what you need to do next to take the steps to move forward, and connect with a community that understands your experience and supports you. Again, visit radnewlife.com. And don't forget to tell your friends about this channel, and don't forget to subscribe.